we're done.
Okay.
Yeah. So we are at module 2 and we are going to learn Selenium IDE part 3. We already learned part 2 with all these things, and today we are going to see some of the other concepts such as you know using user extensions as well as IDE extensions. Okay, these are the two topics which are pending in this class. We'll be dealing with those things.
Okay.
So let's say in options we seen user Selenium core extensions, so that we can also call it as user extensions, and Selenium IDE extensions. Okay, so basically these core extensions are to add more commands to the Selenium by default provides many commands, many Selenium commands. Okay, to a part of that, if you want to add some more commands, let's say those are called user commands or custom commands. If you want to add those commands, yeah, you can able to do that just by providing those commands in a JavaScript file. Okay, that is one thing. And coming to Selenium IDE extension, okay, so there are times that you need to read some certain data from the um, from your file system. Okay, so Selenium IDE should know where exactly it is present. Okay, so those details will be giving in Selenium IDE extensions. Okay, and we also seen that there are there are people constantly working on Selenium IDE, and they are providing some updates to the Selenium IDE. For example, earlier we don't have an option to do flow controls like such as while loop, do while, or for loop on the Selenium IDE. Okay, so as I
Okay.
said, people are constantly working on Selenium IDE. Now that is available. Okay, and earlier there is no concept of parameterization in the Selenium IDE. Let's say you have a test code and you want to pass the input data differently.
Okay.
Okay, the same test code, but the input data is keep on changing. So that is where you require to do parameterization, and that is also called as data driven. That is not supported earlier, so now it is there. Okay, so while covering this core extension and IDE extension, we'll also see some of the parameterization concept as well as flow, how to use the flow control. Okay,
Okay.
so before that, so I have to give those information to the Selenium IDE. Let's say take the simple example.
Okay.
Okay. So to add a user commands to the Selenium IDE, so this is the user commands.js. Okay, if you see this JS file, I will open this in a editor. Okay, so just click on OK. So and see what is there here. Okay, so it says selenium.prototype.do text uppercase. Okay, and it is also having a function which is taking two parameters, one is locator and the text. Okay, and in this function it is manipulating something. Okay, and it is replacing the text. So this function is basically, let's say you want to write some text on input control, for example. Okay, so in that time, so in that in that time, let's say you are passing the small letters. Okay, let's say Sudhir you are passing as a small letter. Okay, so if you want to convert that small letter into uppercase and then enter, okay, you can use this do text uppercase. Okay, so not only this command. Okay, if you see Selenium core commands such as click, select, and then drag and drop. Okay, and then click and wait, all those things. Okay, which are started with do. Okay, so this is the naming convention, this is actual command. Okay, but you need to append do before this so that Selenium core understand that this is a action method. Okay,
Okay.
so do click, do click and no, do select, do text uppercase. So when Selenium code says it is do, it assumes that it is a action command, and it adds few more commands to this particular command. For example, if it is a do text uppercase, it will add another command that text uppercase and wait. Okay,
Okay.
let's say let's take example of click. So it is a do click. Okay, so you no need to write click and wait operation for it. Okay, so Selenium core itself by default provides you by seeing your action method. Okay,
Okay.
so now, so we have added this, right, do text
Okay.
uppercase, but right now you cannot see that until you restart your IDE. So
Okay.
you can say there is no text uppercase, right? So just close it, reopen text uppercase and text uppercase and wait. We have not written text uppercase and wait, right? So
Yes.
when Selenium core says it's a do method, it assumes that it's an action method, and it writes a text uppercase and wait for you. Okay, so that is how you can use multiple commands, multiple custom commands. So like this, okay, with the extension of do, but you need to give Selenium dot prototype also before that. Okay, so that is how user commands will be. Let's see some of other things. We'll also execute some of the things now. Let's say add, let's take this example test. Okay, so it is loading a file, .xml file. Okay, so which file we open? Data driven. So before this, I want to show this example data source. Okay, just close this one. Okay, so take this file. Okay, so if you see here, so this file you might be aware. Okay, so what we are doing type name equal to param home value, type ID, loan amount. So type interest rate, type loan term, start month, start year. Okay, so this we have seen, right? We have wrote a test case on entering some data on mortgage calculator, right?
Yeah.
Okay, in the same way, so this is the same test case. Okay, but the data I'm passing is not present here, right? So I want to
Yes.
enter some data on the home value, so you don't see that data. Okay, and loan amount, and that is also not present. Okay, so where I'm getting this h value, this is the value I want to enter. Okay, it says that dollar parenthesis h value, right?
Okay.
So where I'm getting this data, so this data I'm getting from here. For example, so there is a store eval command, which is basically to execute the JavaScript commands, or to read the data from uh, a JavaScript file. Okay, so
Okay.
there is a target home value, and that home value I'm assigning to value. It will be like this basically. Let me show that. So you can see home value, loan amount. Okay, so interest rate, what are the controls we are having, we have created some variables here: home value, loan amount. Okay, this is a, you can say this is a key and this is a value. Okay, these are key value pairs. Okay,
Okay.
so here if you see what I'm doing, okay, so this is a home value which is nothing but target. Okay, you can see the home value also here, right? So
Yeah.
when I say target, store a well target home value, I'll be getting the value 10,000 from here. Okay, this 10,000 I cannot use it directly, so I have to set it to another variable h value.
Okay.
Okay, and at the same time store eval loan amount. You can see the loan amount present here. So this store eval loan amount is going to return 5,000 to me. That 5,000 I am storing in L amount. Okay,
Okay.
so in the same way,
Where you are assigning this loan amount to L amount?
so in a JavaScript file, data source.javascript file, so that is available here.
Okay.
Okay, so there is one more configuration you need to do. I will tell you. Okay, so
Okay.
that is how you need to write all these things. If you see interest rate, I know I refer to I rate, loan term, start date, I refer to yes date, like this. Okay, so all those things, whatever the data you assign to variable, right? All those things
Yeah.
I'm axing here. Let's say h value, L amount, I rate. Yeah, you can see h value, L amount, I rate, right? So we're
Yeah.
doing that. Okay, in the same way for everything, and finally we are doing click and wait. Okay, so let me run this one. So I missed one configuration. Yeah, we might expect some error now. Okay, so it says that through an exception, home value is not defined. Okay, so it is unable to find home value. Okay, where this home value is present. Okay, so for that you need to define it. So you have to browse it, data source. So in the earlier we thought, right? So this
Yeah.
Selenium IDE is basically to represent external files. Okay,
Okay.
so now I'm saying, okay, whenever you modify these things, these options, okay, it's recommended to restart the IDE. Again, load the test case. Do you remember to see the previously open test case, we need to,
Yeah.
okay,
Options.
we have to make one option. You remember what is that option?
Mm. Record actual. No, no, not that one. Yeah. Activate developer tools.
Correct, exactly. We have to make this activate developer tools, so that as an even when you close the IDE, you can able to see the previously open test case. Okay, so I'm opening this one and I'm executing it. Okay, it is done, and you can also see the things how it is executed. Okay, let's say PMA is 1 for example. So we have given PMA is 1, Pro- property tax is 1.5, and we can also say property tax 1.5. So let's say now you want to you want to modify this data and you want to repeat it. Okay, so that time it is a next test case, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it's executing with different set of test data. Okay, so you don't need to modify your command, or you don't need to modify your script right away here. You can just simply modify in this property file. It's very much comfortable. Okay, so otherwise you have to open each and every command, and on the command section, or the value section, you need to keep on changing it. Okay, so
Yeah.
this is pretty much easy to test your test code. I mean, to test your test cases with different kinds of input. Okay, so that is how. And we also seen how to use the store eval. Okay, so store eval will be pointing out this home value. This is the target. Store eval is looking for this home value. Okay, so so where it will be looking, it will be looking in your So data source.js file, how it knows it has to look into data source.js? So because it is defined in the IDE extension. Let's say one more question. Let's say IDE section has multiple JavaScript files. IDE section right now is only having data source. Let's say if it is having by comma separated, if it is having multiple files, so then it will look for this home value in each and every JS file.
Okay.
Okay, so and it will pick the value. Okay, so that won't be any problem. You can give comma separate by any number of files. Okay,
Okay.
so that is one thing. Now let's see another example. Data driven. Let me open. Okay, let me load this one. Now you can see this one. So I'm loading a file, XML file, switch.xml, one thing, and I'm doing the, so we are doing the loop statements here is nothing but flow controls, right? So
Yes.
this is the while and this is the end while. So this is where I'm starting the while and this is where I'm ending the while loop. Okay, so this while loop is continuous until this test data dot eof, until that there is no test data.
Okay.
Okay, so where is this test data available? It is available in the search.xml. Okay, so I'll open that search.xml and I'll explain it what is there. So right now just understand this script. So it is loading the XML file from a different location where we are also giving the location details, and the while is continuous until test data is empty. Okay, when test data is there, it will start execute the other statements which are present inside the while. Once the test data is over, when there is nothing to execute, it will come out from the loop. Okay, so this next data is basically to read the data from the XML.
Okay.
Okay, and so here we are opening a browser, http www.google.co.uk, and we are typing something. Okay, so that phrase is basically present in the XML. We'll see that, and we'll finally clicking on a button, and then we are ending the while. Now it's time to see the XML file. Okay, this is the test data. So you can see, right, test data dot eof. So it's nothing but this one. Okay, this one. Okay, so
Okay.
right now there are three tests are there. So it's nothing but test data is not empty. Okay, so it will
Okay.
come here. When I say next data, it will read the first one. Okay, and phrase is nothing but this is the one.
Okay.
From the next data there is a phrase, and we are appending here, we are getting the value here. Okay, so that is done, and again it will go to the while. Okay, it will check is test data is empty. No, there are still two more things are there, right? So when we call next data, it will give the next data, that is second one. Okay, and the phrase is seleniumworks.com, for example. And so again it opens, it searches, and then it click on button. Again it will go to the while, it will check is test data is empty. No, there, it's not empty. Okay, and when I say next data, it will give this one. Okay,
Okay.
and here the phrase is some prashant sam, something is there. Okay, now it will again go to the while.
Okay.
It will again go to the while, and it will open the browser, and when I say next data, this will be given, this will be given. Okay, so once this is done, again it will go to the test data. It says, so there is no test to execute. It will say it is empty, and the while loop will be done, and it will be coming out of the loop. Okay, so let me change this information. So, this one. So says an error. Yeah, it is expected. Unknown command load test data. Okay, so why it is unknown command? Okay, let me check here. So when you type something here, load, do you see any command here?
No.
Okay, so what do you understand from here?
This command is not at
Defined by IDE.
defined. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, it's nothing but it's a custom command.
Custom command.
Correct. Okay, so that is where if you see there are multiple files with me. Okay, so let me import one by one. So and also you can see how many custom commands we used here. One is load test data
Load test.
and another one is while, next
Next.
data and while.
And then
Okay, yeah, so all these are custom. And open type click, we already seen it. Okay,
yeah.
so let me identify where these commands are available. So let me open data driven.js first and let me see. So load is there,
Okay.
load test data is there, right? Load test data is there and next test data is also there. Okay, so you need to remove this do. Okay, when you are looking for a command, you need to remove this do,
Okay.
right? You don't see do here, right? Load test data.
Yeah.
Okay, it is just a naming convention. So you can see load test data and next data in data driven.js. Okay,
Okay.
and we are pending with while and end while. Let me see where we can find those things. No, we don't find here. So I think this is where we can find it. You can say do while, right? So it's nothing but while. So do and while is nothing but end the while.
And
Okay, so you need data driven.js and go to Selenium IDE.js. Let me see what is this user extension, why they kept here. Okay, there is something. Okay, right now I don't think so we need these things. So let me give data driven.js and go to sel ide.js. Okay,
one doubt here,
yeah,
you are importing one HTML file to IDE, right?
yes,
Can you please open that HTML file?
yes, sure. Okay, and I'll also tell you where we can get these files.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are not the things which I wrote. Okay, these are the third party things. So let's say when I say Selenium IDE is constantly improved by, it's a open source, right? It is improved
Yeah.
by multiple organizations. Okay, so from where we got these files also I will show you.
Okay.
Yes, you can see this.
This one you only return it or?
So this is already available, right? Whoever provided these files, right?
Okay.
So
Okay.
they also given this example. Okay,
Okay.
so I just taken from them and I explored it how to run and execute. Okay,
Okay.
so this is how we have to do that. So there are a couple of things
First
I
we need to
modified.
import this HTML file, right?
First you need to
To
import this
IDE.
HTML file. Okay, and you can see when you run it you will see the problems and the corresponding files you need to use it in your IDE. So that is one thing. Other than that, let's say all these files are already available for you, for
Okay.
example. Okay, so instead of instead of here you can write while. Okay, next data, here you can pass your own commands.
Sure.
Okay, let's say you open something, a mortgage calculator, and type in a home value, for example. Okay, and then click on the calc button. I mean, that is also possible. Okay, but test data should be like this, but you need to make sure that the test data should be in this format. There is a test data and there is a text tag and there is a phrase and which has some value. It should be like this in this format. Okay,
Okay.
so when I say load test data only knows this kind of format. Okay, so this load test data only knows only can read from XML, and that too in this format. So you need to be very careful in writing this format. Okay,
Okay.
now we have to give, right? So I need your inputs where to take these values. Okay, so we need to give two JS files. Okay, one is data driven.js and other one is go to Selenium IDE.js, and we also have to give search.xml. Okay, so where should I give search.xml?
Same extensions.
So in the IDE extension, right? When we are dealing with the external data, so it's recommended to give on search.xml in, okay, here in the IDE extension, and you don't need to make any comma separated. IDE will take care of it when you loading the files. Data driven.js and go to selenium.js. Okay, let me see. I think these files are enough. Maybe if these files are looking for another files, okay, that is where we have to, okay, we have to make sure that we need to close it, right?
Yeah.
Whenever you are running a new things, whenever you are modifying the ID extension as well as core extension, it is recommended to restart it. Okay, so yeah, I doubted that. Okay, so we need to have other commands also, because these load test data might be reading the commands from other file,
Okay.
so we need all those files.
But how can it recognize which load test data it is required?
Okay, load test data, see, um, so it will look for the, see, now this is the time, um, it has to search for load test data, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so first it will look into its existing commands.
Okay.
Okay, so when you start the IDE itself, all these JavaScript commands will be loaded in the memory.
Okay.
So not only, see, when you say predefined commands, so those are also written in a JavaScript format. Okay,
Yeah.
so those commands as well as whatever the commands you are passed, right, by using the JavaScript file. Okay,
Yeah.
so all those commands will be loaded into the memory. Okay, however it finds the click or select. Okay, in the same way it will also find load test data. Okay,
Okay.
before starting, that's the reason it requires a restart. When you restart it, it will load all the commands. Okay, Selenium core commands as well as the commands which you are passing from the .js file, JavaScript file. Okay, all this will be loaded into the memory, and it can able to execute it. Okay, but what happened earlier, we have given certain files but we missed to give other files. Okay, so these files are having reference to other files, and we are not given the dependency files or reference files, so that is where it is failed. So let me run now. Okay, so first time it has entered Selenium Essentials, and then it is entered ELN tutorial, and then it is entered Sudev. Okay, so none of the name is not belongs to me. Okay, so that is how it should be, and you can change some data here. Let me write. So my thing is that something blogspot .rtl. Okay, other than that, so okay, so this, for example, okay, and yeah, So you can rerun it again, it will change the data. Okay, you can see blogspot.in
Yeah.
which we wrote, and the author Sudhir Kumar. Okay, so those things.
Okay.
Okay, so you can just change it here, and no, it will be considered. Okay, and but make sure that test data follows like this.
Okay.
Okay, so that's about IDE, and there is one more feature. So which I okay, there is one more feature. So whenever you see such kind of error site, okay, remove all those files and re-import once again. Okay, so
Okay.
probably it will go off. Yeah, the other option is so WebDriver. Okay, so basically it is to run uh, earlier we have a limitation of Selenium IDE that okay, it only execute the test cases in 5 bugs. Okay, so
Okay.
to avoid this limitation, Selenium IDE bring up with WebDriver concept in the IDE itself. Okay, so using which you can able to execute your Selenium IDE test cases in different browsers.
Okay.
It need not be Firefox, it could be a Chrome or anything else. Okay, whatever they support. Okay, so but right now it is in, you know, right now it is in under testing from the Selenium community itself. Okay, so they says that it's still an experiment feature, may not be very stable, please use it for testing Selenium IDE. Okay, so yeah, this one we'll see it later. Okay, we need to have Selenium standalone file. Okay, when we are sure about what each what this jar does. Okay, standalone server, what this standalone server does. Okay, so then we'll come back to this WebDriver. Okay, so when we know about WebDriver, so that is the time we will come back to IDE and we'll see it. Okay, but there is not guarantee that it might execute because it's still under experiment.
Okay.
Okay, it's an experimental feature, it's recently came. Okay,
Okay.
so that is one. And with this we are done with the Selenium IDE, and there are some couple of things you asked me, some Selenium commands also, right?
Comments. Yeah.
Okay, so let me see some of the Selenium commands I captured. So these are the mostly used commands. Okay, and one is open, close, window, maximize. Okay, it's basically to maximize the window, and type, click, select, these are we are aware. And so a check is nothing but to select the checkbox. Okay, so this checkbox, if you want to know what is what a checkbox can do, okay, so you can, you know, select this one, edit, and do some check. Okay, so it gives okay what a check does and what it just takes a locator. Okay, just to click on the checkbox you don't need to pass any value, right? You just need to mention the target, that is locator. And the select window, let's say when you are having multiple windows, so which window you want to select. And the select frame, when a page is having multiple frames, yeah, how you can do the frames. And get alert, to select the alert box. Get confirmation, to click an OK confirmation message. Okay,
Okay.
and choose cancel or next confirmation. Let's say, so there are some alerts which have a cancel and uh, cancel or OK, right? So that is where which one you want to select. Okay, so let's say type here. Okay, it says choose cancel on next confirmation, so you are choosing the cancel directly. Okay,
Okay.
and this is choose OK on next confirmation, you are choosing the OK instead of cancel, you are choosing the OK on this dialog box. Okay, so where cancel and OK is there you are choosing either OK or cancel by these commands. Okay, and that is how. And also there are verify commands, and there are assert commands, right? Okay,
Yeah.
so let's say verify text. Okay, assert text. Okay, so these are the some more commands: verify text present, assert text present, verify element present, assert element present. Okay, so there are verify and assertion related commands are there. So
Okay.
yeah, so you can simply mention like this. And you know what is verify and assert, and what is
Yeah.
the difference between?
Yeah, I
So
know.
yeah.
Except if test case is failed, then asset will not go to next command.
Okay, exactly, that's true. Yeah,
The total test will be failed. In
correct.
verify, even if the test case is failed, then it will continue to the next test
Exactly,
step.
exactly. So in verify, if the test case is failed, even the verification is failed, okay, it will fail the test case, but it continues.
Yeah.
Whereas assert, it will fail the test case and it stops there. Okay. So am I shown any example on verify and assert?
No.
Okay. So let me take a simple example. So which we already done, and add some assertion or verify comments to that. Let's take this example only. Okay. So let me add a new command. Okay, so not here. Verify title. I'll take title. So target, you don't need to mention anything. It will be able to identify it. So I will say MGC for example. Okay. So let me execute the thing.
1 second.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead,
Wait,
please.
ఏమండి ఏమండి